Sup, nation?
My name, of course, Philip Defranco.
I got patriotic goosebumps.
And honestly, I wish our candidates would start talking about things that actually matter.
Sup,
Nation, we are live at the Republican National Convention. It's the final night. After this, we are done for the week. And as always, I'm Philip Defranco, and tonight Mitt Romney will be accepting his nomination for President of the United States. This is a big moment for Romney. He did not get the nomination in 2008. Doesn't matter. He has it now. And joining me tonight, we have Meg Turney and Elliott Morgan. Hey, guys.
Hey. We're doing the surprise thing again.
I know. It's weird that we're doing that.
I like how you've totally abandoned me on the tie thing.
Yeah, I felt too stuffy.
No, I get it.
I felt like I was trying to be someone I wasn't.
Yeah. All right, there you go. Yeah.
Can you relate?
Yeah, I can relate. Totally.
Are you sad that it's the last day?
Not even a little bit.
Yeah, so sad. Boo.
Charlotte.
I'm excited for Charlotte.
I know you're pumped for it. Okay. But we are going to start with tweets tonight. You guys sent a ton yesterday. We tried to cover as many as we could. Was not enough. So let's start with ArmSec89, who said last night, I don't believe either candidate will be able to fix this country. Neither contain the reasoning or critical thinking for the position. Cynicism.
Oh.
I like, no. I agree. I don't agree.
Refreshing.
I agree. I don't know. Ame Morton says Republicans don't like the idea of government money being spent on abortions while billions are spent on foreign wars and pork production. Okay.
All right.
What's going on with pork, though?
I think, I don't know. It's not like when a Democrat is a president, we're just like, and all wars stop.
Mm-hmm.
Is that?
It's true.
No, sure
very true.
Well,
but
it's something that rhymes
we
with
a bunch of people.
Rowan Marax. Drone attacks.
There it is.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
It's true. I can't defend this one.
You can't defend it. Because I'm right. No, but Ham13 then goes to you, Meg. It seems like she is unwavering in her liberal ideas. And are there any ideas where you have a conservative inclination?
Oh, Ham13. All right. I know they're going to take away my Democrat card for this.
Okay.
But I am from Texas, and I believe in the death penalty.
Is that the only conservative thing?
That's like the biggest. I think that's the biggest, especially like in social issues, which really, really matter to me. Yeah, it's probably a pretty big one. I'm going to get to Charlotte, and they're going to only give me like a half hug. Now we're going to get like the side.
Yeah. Fun fact, I'm the conservative one, and I am against the death penalty.
Really?
Yeah.
All together?
Yeah.
In any case?
Yeah.
So you just think life in prison?
Yeah.
You are the weirdest people.
We're horrible. We're horrible.
Yeah. Let's see. We have Brittany Pringle saying, Chris Christie, you talk about not wanting the government to come between a woman and her doctor. Tell me how that applies to abortion. Boom, Chris Christie. Just take that. And then I just love this name. Listexic Lord V. I see what you did. I like much of the Republican platform, but it's the social issues that make me want to distance myself from them.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I'm with you on that one.
100%.
Yeah, you're there? Meg, why are you nodding? You're not agreeing. I'm just playing. I like throwing you under the bus as much as I can.
The bus is already on my face. We usually get to like the end of the show.
I don't know. But we are going to have more on The Nation Speaks later tonight. We've been hearing a lot about these speakers talking up Mitt Romney. He's the best guy in the world. So our question today, what's your opinion on Mitt Romney? Has it changed from the speeches, from us rambling about it? Tweet us your responses using the hashtag PDSLive, and we're going to try and pull the ones that you love them, you hate them, you have a good point, hopefully, maybe have a good point, though those are always nice things to have. But we're going to move forward with a special piece from SourceFed giving you what they think is the history of Mitt Romney.
The Latter-day Bane, the political Ryan Gosling, the Crimson Mormon. All these are nicknames that no one has ever used when talking about Mitt Romney. Until now. Feel free to use them all the time. I'm giving you permission. I made them up, and I want you to use them. Let them catch on. Now, Mitt is officially running on the Republican ticket and gunning for a spot on the presidential throne in the White House. What? There's no throne in the White House? What do you mean I've lost all my credibility? Oh, well, joke's on you. I've never had any credibility. So, since Mitt Romney is representing the red in this election, it would behoove us to know a little bit about his history. Because to truly know a dude, you gotta know a dude's past. Mark Twain said that. Or not. Come along, won't you? Willard Mitt Romney declared his emancipation from the tyrannical placenta on the 12th of March, 1947, and was raised in the wilds of Bloomfield Hills, Michigan, as a member of the Mormon Church. His mom's was Lenore Romney, and his pops was George W. Romney, who became chairman and CEO of American Motors when Mitt was but a lad. This equated to lots of money and a pretty privileged upbringing. He attended a private boys' school, and then later on, he massaged his brain into the brain it is today while attending Brigham Young University. And then he attended the Harvard Law and Business schools. By the time he pieced out of there in 1975, he walked away with a law degree and an MBA. His introduction to politics occurred at a fairly young age. In 1962, his father was elected governor of Michigan after a successful election campaign. A campaign that a sophomore-aged Mitt worked on. Mitt later worked as an intern in his dad's office and sat in a front row seat when his dad lost a bid for the Republican presidential nomination in 1968 to a tricky dick. Tricky dick. So maybe this running for president is a little bit of the whole achieving the dreams of our fathers, Maybe? Anyways, after he rocks out his Mormon mission in France, finishes up college, marries Ann Davis, who he's still with, and knocks out some of his soon-to-be 5 kids, he jumps into the business world. He's hired by Bain & Company, a management consulting firm, and he's good at what he do. He works his way up the corporate ladder and lands the VP job before receiving an offer to head the private equity investment firm Bain Capital. He makes a buttload of money. During this time, he runs for the U.S. Senate, but is bested by Ed Kennedy. So he bounced around Bain business for years until 1999 when he took a break to be the supreme overlord of the organizing committee of the Winter Olympics in Salt Lake City. And he did a fine job. After the Olympics, he leaves Bain, but not before setting himself up with a sweet retirement package that ushers millions into his secret mattress hiding spot every single year. He then is elected governor of Massachusetts in 2003 and erases a $3 billion deficit. Cool! With the assistance of unexpected revenue and some spending cuts in areas like education. Not cool. He also increased the fees of licenses, like driver's licenses and marriage licenses, leading some to say that his changes put extra hardships on the less fortunate. Not cool. It should be pointed out, though, that he forfeited his salary during this time, and I think that's neat. One other interesting point, he ushered in a statewide universal care law, the first of its kind in any state, called Romney Care. So it's like, hot topic, since he is promising that he's going to abolish Obamacare if he gets elected. Open the book to February 13th, 2007. He announces that he's going to fight for the Republican nom so he can fight for the president's throne. I don't care what you say, there is a throne in the White House. He comes into second place to John McCain. McCain goes down to Obama. Romney tries again in 2011, and he secures the nomination. And here we are. Whew! Lots of stuff. That's a very abridged version of this dude, but I wanted to give you guys a backstory because it helps you understand a man if you know where he comes from. So we're going to hit his stances in a later video.
Now, Nation, last night we had a lot of speeches. It was all building up to vice presidential candidate Paul Ryan. And if you're wondering what the tone of the night was, check this out.
And welcome to Barack Obama's retirement party. We've had 4 years of Barack Obama in the White House. One bad decision follows another. President Obama isn't as bad as people say. He's actually worse.
Came out with the kitty gloves and they didn't even address him. But the first guy we're going to really dive deeper into his speech is going to be former governor of Arkansas, Mike Huckabee.
The United States of America was originally an experiment, but it was an experiment in recognizing God-given individual liberty and creating a government in which no one is deemed better than another, and in which all of us are equal. Not equal in abilities, but equal in intrinsic worth and value. For 4 years, we've given a chance to a man with very limited experience in governing, no experience in business whatsoever, and since taking office, mostly interested in campaigning, blaming, and aiming excuses at his predecessor, the Republicans, and people in business, or as Republicans like to call them, employers. Mitt Romney turned around companies that were on the skids. He turned around a scandal-ridden Olympics that was deep in the red into a high point of profit and patriotic pride. And he turned around a very liberal state when he erased a deficit and replaced it with a surplus. I understand that the job of president is admittedly tougher than running a company, an Olympic contest, or a Commonwealth. But when one sees what even Bill Clinton noted was a sterling record of problem solving that has marked the life of Mitt Romney, we are confident that we will do better. God bless you. Thank you. God bless.
So we have Mr. Chick-fil-A, brings up a very good point. Romney, his business background, talks about equality, but at the same time does mention that he is against gay marriage. I'm gonna kick it to Elliott. your initial reaction.
Initial reaction is shocking. It was exactly what I expected it to be.
Yeah.
I'm not entirely sure what the difference is between Mike Huckabee and Rick Santorum. Like it seems like in 2008 and in 2012 we had these identical two candidates that differed basically only in their name. I think Mike Huckabee is a genuine person. I don't have anything against him personally. I don't agree with his social stances, but I know in 2008 he was rocking the whole fair tax thing for a while, which I thought was kind of cool. I've read some stuff about it since then, and I was like, oh, that would never work. But yeah, I mean, I thought it was a very nice speech for what it was.
Meg?
I just thought he made a big point about this country was founded on everyone being equal, except for anyone of any color and also women. Like you can't pull that out of the book and be like, see, we're all we weren't all equal then. So don't pull the founding fathers just for nitpicky. As a history major, it drives me crazy when people cherry pick the founding fathers because they all had their flaws. They weren't all super religious. So you have to be careful about doing that, and that struck a nerve with me.
That's the beauty about history. Everything changes.
Yeah, history changes depending on what's happening right now to better fit whatever it is that we want to do.
Yeah, because you might not realize this. Before 1900, you were either 100% evil or awesome.
Yeah.
That's how history, I feel like, remembers you until you actually open a book.
Which differs so much from right now in 2012, when either one party is evil and one party is totally awesome.
Well, no matter what I say, what you say, someone's calling you an idiot. Someone's saying the same thing about you.
One of us is evil no matter what.
I'm just ugly. That's all they're saying about me. Genius, ugly.
I think you're adorable, Phil. I think you're adorable. And that brings us to our next subject, gay marriage. Mike Huckabee, totally against it.
Completely against it.
Yeah.
Completely against it. And made like really obvious pro-life and anti-gay marriage remarks in his speech, you know what I mean? And he doubled down on the God a lot. He's like God a lot in his speech.
Let's not bundle all those together. I mean, I feel like those are both very important separate issues. You have the pro-life thing, which for the most part I get behind, but then you have the gay marriage thing, which I don't get behind. That being said, gay marriage does have other sides to it. For example, like I don't know how true this is, but things that I've heard are when if a church were to decide not to marry a gay couple, they could potentially have their tax-free statuses revoked. I don't think that's right. I think if a church chooses not to marry a gay couple, they should be allowed to do that. I think most people are on board with that, but it's just something to think about in terms of like taxation and all that.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think any of that's set in stone. I think that's not something that we've decided if we make gay marriage legal that everyone has to participate all the time. I think that's totally flexible. I completely agree with you. I think that a church should be allowed to decide whether or not it wants to marry a gay couple, and if they refuse, then that's their bad PR that they're willing to deal with.
Maybe they just don't like fabulous weddings.
Well,
they don't want to stimulate the economy with that gay stuff. Ugh. That's the worst. No, and someone asked me earlier why I'm kind of okay with Huckabee and not Santorum, and I think it's because Santorum relates gay sex to bestiality, and Huckabee is actually, even though I don't agree with him, he's very respectful.
Yeah.
Lately. I will say lately. I mean, even the Chick-fil-A thing, he was like, just don't go there and, do evil. You know, idiots did show up. Very nice people showed up that thought it was about freedom of speech, or think that it is, but I don't know. That's my thing. Then next up we have former Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice. For a brief moment, people on Twitter thought that she was going to be the running mate, but obviously that didn't happen because we already have Paul Ryan. But here, listen in.
The promise of the Arab Spring is engulfed in uncertainty. Internal strife and hostile neighbors are challenging the young, fragile democracy of Iraq. Dictators in Iran and Syria butcher their people and threaten regional security. Russia and China prevent a response. And everyone asks, where does America stand? And I know, too, that there is a weariness. I know that it feels as if we have carried these burdens long enough. But we can only know that there is no choice, because one of two things will happen if we don't lead. Either no one will lead and there will be chaos, or someone will fill the vacuum who does not share our values. My fellow Americans, we do not have a choice. We cannot be reluctant to lead, and you cannot lead from behind. We are blessed with the gift of oil and gas resources here in North America, and we must develop them. We can develop them sensitively, we can develop them securing our environment, but we must develop them. My fellow Americans, ours has never been a narrative of grievance and entitlement. We have never believed that I am doing poorly because you are doing well. We have never been jealous of one another and never envious of each other's successes. Where you're going, the crisis in K-12 education is a threat to the very fabric of who we are. A little girl grows up in Jim Crow Birmingham, the segregated city of the South where her parents can't take her to a movie theater or to a restaurant. But they have her absolutely convinced that even if she can't have a hamburger at the Woolworth's lunch counter, she could be president of the United States if she wanted to be, and she...
So we have Condoleezza Rice. I think easily the best speaker of the night. I know that I was listening to everyone else. I got goosebumps, especially during that last part. But Meg, I'm going to kick it to you. What was your reaction?
You know what? Actually, I liked Condoleezza Rice's speech, and I hate to say the words that are coming out of my mouth, but I think Paul Ryan also did a good job. I think they both went toe for toe on like the most energizing speeches that people really respected. I really liked her speech, and she actually, I thought it was super interesting. She didn't use a teleprompter. She was the only speaker who didn't use a teleprompter. So it was really cool to see her kind of, once you heard that, like that she was actually kind of saying it from memory. I thought that was really impressive.
I thought it was incredible. I got, like you said, goosebumps like 9 times. Which I don't get like emotional about this stuff at all. But when she starts, like, she's incredible. So like, she's an incredibly intelligent person, and I'm pretty sure if I were to have a conversation with her, I would walk away like feeling like I just talked to the smartest person in the world. Like, I don't think I could hold a conversation with her about anything. I just feel like she's too intelligent. I think she's the perfect representation of what a Republican should be. And if Romney loses, I certainly would love to see her be my president. I just think she's awesome.
I think she would definitely give a run for the money if the Republicans don't win it this year. But as soon as I hear her speak, I think about her in that congressional hearing saying, like, and what did the newsletter say before 9/11? Osama bin Laden is going to attack the United States. Like that famous clip of her being like, yeah, we totally didn't see it coming, except we did. So it's hard. I just liken that in my mind.
Okay.
I mean, not to like go hit this point again, but like as far as the 2016 thing goes, not that I want Romney and Ryan to lose, or not that I don't want them to either, but if they do, I really would like to see Condoleezza Rice and maybe like a Marco Rubio ticket. I feel like that'd be really cool. It'd be really exciting, just because you have 2 extremely articulate people who are very highly intelligent. I just like both of them.
What about your party man, Chris Christie?
I do like Chris Christie. Chris Christie should be like the campaign manager, just so I see him off to the side all the time, just like bobbing his head.
I don't know. What I would say about Condoleezza Rice, one, obviously you said no teleprompter. It felt more from the heart. She actually talked about real issues. She didn't just take jabs at Obama, which I know that a lot of our clips, we took it out because we wanted to get to their actual points. But, you know, actually talking about education, talking about, something that Romney wants to do, drill, inside the states, and the world issues. Why are we over there? And she's saying that it's very important, and it's something that no one else said, but it's also something that she's knowledgeable on.
What do you think about drilling in the United States?
I'm very ignorant on it, actually. Very ignorant. I have no idea.
Yeah.
I have no idea. I wanted to throw an opinion out there, but I would just be talking out of my ass, and I try not to on things that I actually don't have facts on. Do you think that we should do something?
I hate to say this, I have the exact same opinion. I don't know. I love animals, but yeah, I mean, on one hand, it's like I don't want to see any animals die. On the other hand, we need oil. What do you think, Meg?
I just think of the research I have done on fracking, and it's terrible.
You need to watch your language first of all. This is a family show.
It's not, because I'm on it. No, it seems really bad for our environment, and a lot of Republicans have taken the hard line that, we don't know, and those studies, they're inconclusive, but we have a lot of studies that are saying that it is bad for the environment, it's bad news. So I think if we're going to develop resources, developing them responsibly is key. Do you
think that it outweighs being, some people would argue, a slave to oil?
I am absolutely on the side of wind energy and solar power and developing those technologies before relying on oil and things like. I think they're on their way out. I think we really need to be harnessing, things like clean energy.
Yeah. All right, let's see. We have also, next up, New Mexico Governor Susana Martinez.
Imagine a little girl from a border town could one day become a governor. But this is America. Y en América, todo es posible. Now, my dad made sure I could take care of myself. I carried a Smith & Wesson 357 Magnum, and it is the responsibility of both parties to offer up real solutions and have an honest debate. In New Mexico, I inherited the largest structural deficit in state history, and our legislature is controlled by Democrats. We don't always agree, but we came together in a bipartisan manner and turned that deficit into a surplus. There is one candidate in this election who will protect that dream, one leader who will fight hard to keep the promise of America for the next generation, and that's why we must stand up and make Mitt Romney the next president of the United States.
So Martinez, I had to get it translated because I got a C in Spanish. She said, and in America, everything is possible. The American dream is to succeed. I thought it was very interesting. I mean, when she mentioned the gun, I was like, yeah, easy cheers. I think she did play a very interesting role, maybe going towards getting Mitt the minority vote. I mean, self-made, it came up through the ranks, America, everything's possible, kind of like Condoleezza Rice said. I found it interesting. A clip that we didn't include was when she said that she didn't realize she was a Republican until someone threw out the stances, and I thought it was really interesting, and I think a bigger idea of the big tent mindset that the Republicans have been really pushing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Elliott, opinion?
Oh, my turn. Okay. I think it's in regards to not finding out you're a Republican until you go stance by stance. I think that's really good because I feel like a lot of people, they immediately choose a party, whether it's Republican or Democrat. I know growing up I did that. My parents were Democrat. A lot of people whose parents or my parents are Republican, and whatever your parents are, you sort of adopt that first, and then you kind of gear yourself toward whatever the party platform is. So I think it's a cool idea to sort of go issue by issue and figure out where you stand without any preconceived notions.
Cool. And then
I thought it was surprising to me that she got such a big cheer for using Spanish because I don't mean that in a bad way. I honestly Republicans have been, look at Arizona's immigration law, they've been fairly anti-immigrant, even though each of them stood up there and said, I am the granddaughter of an immigrant. They've been fairly anti-immigrant in their policies.
Anti-illegal immigrant. Right?
Sure, but
Okay.
coming from Texas, when someone speaks Spanish, a lot of people say things like, why are you not speaking American?
Well, even it's very interesting, especially with some of the deferment things that have been going through of if you are here illegally, your parents brought you over, well, how can we make it legal? I think it was 1.7 million people
right.
they were like, oh, okay, we can do this. It is very interesting, though. I don't know. I get her point. I 100% get her point.
Oh, totally.
I know that people on the internet are going to be like, she's saying Republicans are racist. I don't
at
think
all.
so. I think
Not at all.
it is, from personal experience when I've gone through border states, and obviously I don't live there is a different mindset, and it is somewhat aggressive for some people.
Yeah,
I get the idea.
I will say I think some Republicans are racist, and I think some Democrats are racist.
Yeah.
Racists are everywhere
Well,
still.
sure, I'm not saying that at all. That's not what I'm saying.
So, we're agreeing on that. I think, though, when, when people cheer for someone speaking Spanish, I think it's awesome. I don't read too much into stuff like that. I think, it goes to show that people do like diversity, and there has been hesitance in the past when it comes to this type of thing, because people, the whole, speak American. If you're coming to America, speak American. I do believe that this place... America. I do believe this place is a melting pot. We should get as many people in here with as many different languages as possible. So I like when they applaud for it.
It's not American, it's Merkin. Or English. But then, of course, we had the vice presidential candidate, Paul Ryan, speaking last night. Here's that.
I accept the calling of my generation to give our children the America that was given to us, with opportunity for the young and security for the old. And I know that we are ready. My home state voted for President Obama. When he talked about change, many people liked the sound of it, especially in Janesville, where we were about to lose a major factory. Right there at that plant, candidate Obama said, I believe that if our government is there to support you, this plant will be here for another 100 years. That's what he said in 2008. Well, as it turned out, that plant didn't last another year. We have a plan for a stronger middle class with a goal of generating 12 million new jobs over the next 4 years. Everyone who feels stuck in the Obama economy is right to focus on the here and now. And I hope you understand this too. If you're feeling left out or passed by, you have not failed. Your leaders have failed you.
So Paul Ryan, this very interesting speech of people saying certain things aren't true, but at the same time it got a lot of people excited and thought, hey, that's more relatable. Meg, what do you think?
Hey, actually I've been to his hometown of Janesville, Wisconsin.
Yeah.
It has nothing.
Oh.
It's in the middle of nowhere. I had a Cracker Barrel. But,
well, it's delicious.
it's a very small town. I totally get where he's coming from. I thought it was a good speech, as much as I disagree with everything he said. And there were huge errors. The factory that he pointed out, that closed during President Bush's term. And, I mean, how do you, I just don't know. Is it intentional that you put a fact like that in, in your speech?
Technically, I think it was misleading, if anything, because in 2008...
Well, most of it
closed down 4
right.
months into 2009. Mm-hmm. So it's not... it's misleading.
It's indicative that he's an evil human being who's trying to mislead the American public and should definitely not, under any circumstances, take office. No, I think
it was misleading.
Yeah, I agree.
And then, I mean, one thing I will jump on board with was as far as saying that the Obama stuff, right? It happened during GOP, the GOP threatening to raise the debt ceiling, or not raise the debt ceiling, I'm sorry, as far as the economy. Those notes that he was making. That was really interesting. Unless, Elliott, do you have a different opinion?
No, I have the same exact opinion. I think if you have fact errors anywhere in your speech, that should not happen under any circumstances. I do, however, somewhat agree with the bigger picture of the entire speech, which was that, like he said, he talked about Obama said change, and everyone fell in love with that word change and hope, and it was the most amazing campaign ever in 2008. Like the posters and everything was incredible, so everyone fell in love with that. So when you have Paul Ryan getting up there and saying all these things, I absolutely think it's a mistake if there are any fact errors in a speech like this, because it's extremely important. Yeah. But overall, the point he's making is that there were promises that were made that weren't kept, and I think that's a big issue. I think it's universal among all politicians. So I don't know. It's not going to keep me up at night if there are fact errors in there. But that being said, there shouldn't be any ever.
I just think that what keeps me up at night is 90% of those people who watch his speech who agree with him aren't going to check the fact errors. You know what I mean? They're not going to make sure that they know what's going on, and that bothers me.
Do you think that's only the Republican Party, though, or do you think Democrats do the same thing?
Did I say it was only the Republican Party? You're trying to push me in front of the bus, and I'm not getting.
I think you guys need a fist fight.
Yeah, I'm ready.
No, I mean, politics is not about truth. It is about perception. 100%. Mm-hmm. It is calling an unfortunate truth, but it's the truth.
Right. Yeah.
I think. I don't know. But we are going to go into Paul Ryan a little more, especially his economic stances. And next up, we have SourceFed trying to simplify that for you. Good luck.
Okay, so we are going to talk today about Paul Ryan's economic plan. A lot's being said about it that it's the worst thing ever, and a lot's being said about it that it's the best thing ever. So we're going to try to dissect it as much as possible. So his name, first of all, is Paul Ryan. It sounds kind of like Ron Paul, but is he like Ron Paul? Not really, kind of, but only a very little bit. There are certain similar sentiments, but at the end of the day, Paul Ryan is a Republican's Republican. The 42-year-old blue-eyed guy who kind of looks like that guy from The Office, not Steve Carell, not BJ Novak. I'm talking like new crappy Office. Gabe, I think is his name. So he has a simple rule. If you want taxes down, you can't just lower taxes. You also have to cut spending, and that is not popular with a lot of people. If you cut spending, then you spend less. Pretty crazy, right? So we're going to travel all the way back in time to 1976. That's not true. Time travel is impossible. But anyway, there was this writer for the Wall Street Journal, and he referred to Democrats as the spending Santa Claus. Everybody loves the spending Santa Claus. He referred to Republicans as the Santa Claus of tax reduction. That sounds boring. He stated, there's something in the Republican chemistry that causes the GOP to become hypnotized by the prospect of an imbalanced budget. They embrace the role of Scrooge, cutting spending, playing into the hands of the Democrats, who know the first rule of successful politics is never shoot Santa Claus. So I think I kind of understand that metaphor, and at the end of the day, I really just wanted to include Santa Claus in some political piece. But the idea here is that not spending isn't just something that we don't like to do on a personal level, because I know personally I like to spend stuff all the time. It's also something we don't like to do on a governmental level. So on one hand, you have the Democrats, and they're creating all of these programs, but then you have the Republicans who want to cut those programs. Do they do it because it's malicious? Maybe. At worst, these cuts are malicious. At best, they're just political. Okay, if we don't have the money, not spending money does make a lot of sense. It's not really the American way. I'm pretty sure we're supposed to buy like BMWs and have payment plans and drown ourselves in debt. I think that's the American dream. I could be wrong. I'll update you if I find anything else out on that. So Paul Ryan's plan is to cut spending from their projected levels. It's basically putting a cap on the increase. So instead of the line graph of spending going like this, it'll go like this a little bit. It's like less spending. So Paul Ryan would cut spending almost everywhere, including altering the way Medicare works for the elderly, as well as a massive bite from Medicaid. The problem that we're facing in this country right now, I mean, amongst all of the other problems, is that we have a bunch of old people. Old people are being born way faster than they're dying, okay? Think about that. Old people die all the time, and right behind them are influxes of people that wake up in the morning, look in the mirror, and say, crap, I'm old. These people need health care and Social Security, while we have younger adults who are having, on average, less children. That change in the American population has to be accounted for while still taking into consideration our deficit and all of the other economic and social issues. All right, so back to Paul Ryan. Medicare slashed by 42%. Medicaid slashed by 78%. And don't forget, it's both the left and the right that agree that we can't afford to spend at the current levels. Barack Obama, Mitt Romney, Joe Biden, Paul Ryan, it doesn't matter what side of the aisle they're on in that regard, they all agree that we have to stop spending so much money. It's just that one group is unpopularly saying that they're going to do it a lot more. And no, unpopularly is not a word. Unpopularly. They're saying it in an unpopular fashion. So the Obama camp is like, you're cutting way too much. And then Ryan's plan is like, your plan is totally unsustainable. And both of them are clashing heads, which is so weird. They never do that. And then on the flip side of things, Paul Ryan's like, we're cutting spending everywhere. It's done. I'm laying down the hammer, except in defense, which I will be dumping $100 billion into, which is a 15% increase compared to what Obama did. Other than that, though, everything is cut. And defense is like the biggest amount that we spend on anything. Be that as it may, we need defense. I kind of understand it, but I kind of don't. Story of my life. The big difference between Paul Ryan and all the other Republicans is he's kind of a no BS economist who sees a lack of money and an excess of spending. Whether the cuts he's doing are the appropriate amounts and whether voters will be cool with him increasing defense by 15% is kind of up to you. If you disagree, you don't vote for him. And if you agree, you vote for him. This is how it works. And keep in mind that I am no politician and I'm not an economist. I'm just trying to figure out what all this means using like Google and my brain, which sometimes those two things do not work well together. So whatever your political affiliation is, I would at least encourage you to listen to what the other side has to say, even if you think it's dumb. My personal opinion is that the biggest problem with politics is that each side treats the other party horribly. It's not the policies. Some of those actually are stupid. But when Democrats act like the Republicans are solely like rich people loving hypocrites, or Republicans act like Democrats are evil communist people, the good parts of both parties tend to get overshadowed by sensationalism. And then nothing changes. As far as Paul Ryan's economic plan goes, I'm still a little confused by it. A lot of it's really vague and I'm constantly learning more about it. So that being said, if I learn something that tips me either staunchly for it or against it, I'll let you know. Until then, man, politics is fun, right? Right? I mean, come on. It's a bunch of people taking things way too seriously, and you have lies, and you have deceit, and you have manipulation, and underneath all of that, buried under all that crap, you have people who actually want to improve and fix our country. It's kind of fun to watch, and sometimes fun to be a part of.
Thanks, video version of Elliott. Because next up, we have Elliott Morgan. Morgan, again, your name is Morgan.
Morgan.
Really?
Elliott Morgan.
Your real name.
Nailed it.
I want to see a birth.
Oh,
he made a birther joke. Anyway, next up we have Elliott Morgan grabbing interviews, and here is what he got.
Hey guys, Elliott Morgan here, and I'm with U.S. Representative Dennis Ross. Mr. Ross, can you explain to everybody what a U.S. representative does?
Yes, there are 435 of us in the country. We represent each state, and we do it by way of population, and we affect policy. We do legislation that is passed by both the House and the Senate, and then in order to become law, it must be signed off by the President.
On the subject of subjects, what do you think people should be most focused on when choosing a new president?
Credibility.
Credibility, okay.
Credibility. You should have a leader who has credibility. Somebody that you can believe. You may not always agree with them, but at least you know that they're speaking the truth, that they believe in their passions, and they know where you know where they're coming from. I would think that Mitt Romney has more credibility than we've seen in some of our Republican nominees over the last few cycles.
So when it comes to Mitt Romney, a lot of people are very cynical of him because he's not likable, and they say he's a robot, and they say people can't relate to him. How do you respond to people like that?
I don't think he's a robot. I think he's sort of like your figure fatherhead. I mean, he's always in a suit and tie. He's always seems to have his hair just right. He has a beautiful wife, and I think a lot of people think, well, he's just too mechanical. But then you have to look at his history and see how successful he's been. You know, how he started, what he's done. You can overlook a lot of the mechanics of somebody's body motion if you know what they stand for and you know what they've done.
Okay, that's an excellent answer. When it comes to Mitt Romney, a lot of people are very critical of him because he's a one-percenter and he has money, and then people freak out and they're like, you shouldn't have money. What's your response on that? Does that factor into
what factors in my decision making? I think Paul Ryan said it very well last night. It's okay to be successful. It's okay to achieve. That's the one thing about American exceptionalism. It's the one thing about our country that has made it so great, is that one who desires to do well will have the opportunity to do well. We don't need to punish him. You know, one of the things about Mitt Romney, people will say, is that he makes too much money. He probably gives more than most ever give to charities and to others. Clearly, the tax rate he pays will always be an issue, but the amount of taxes he pays is overwhelming. So, you know, I think we need to find somebody who knows how to be successful to be our leader. I don't want somebody who's unsuccessful and not able to accomplish anything to be my leader. I want somebody who knows what they're doing, who can assess a situation and be very successful at it, and I think Mitt does that.
Perfect. So what do you have to say to the 15-year-olds and 16-year-olds out there who maybe are a little overwhelmed by all of this?
Well, first of all, when I was 15 or 16, I also was concerned about politics to some degree, but let me just tell you, take an interest in politics, because politics will take an interest in you. And more importantly, it'll probably take an interest in your wallet. And the next generation is yours. We need your leadership. Please get involved.
Wonderful. There you go. Okay, so Congressman Ross was a pretty down-to-earth guy. He emphasized the American dream along with like every other politician here today. So that's what I want to talk about today. And I've defended Republicans a whole lot this week, despite not actually considering myself one. I don't care what anybody says. I'm not technically a Republican. That was for you, Phil. But just a week ago, actually, I was considering becoming a full-fledged Democrat. What? That's right. Tell me more, Elliott. Okay, I will. So last week, Joe Beretta sent me a column by comedian Patton Oswalt, and it, more than any debate or soundbite or political ad, almost convinced me to vote Obama. In it, Patton Oswalt talked about Patton Oswalt talked about Romney being rich, and he said, there's nothing wrong with that, except that Romney has zero sympathy for those who don't feel the same way he does. And he's infecting other people, former friends of mine, who have warped and mutated into creatures of liquid ambition, effortless greed, with zero compassion for anyone who would dare to be happy to work a job and then simply value time with their families and friends and maybe expect some reasonable amount of healthcare and comfort. I'm seeing too many people who should know better, who truly think that life should be an endless hunching over a food bowl, chasing everyone else away without respite. Fear is the fuel, and nothing frightens them more than people who aren't fueled by fear. Boom! Okay, so I recommend everybody go and Google that, some part of that, and find the column and read it, because I've been thinking about it all week. So I want to talk about this whole American dream thing. Stephen Baldwin talked about it, and Congressman Ross mentioned it, and Rick Santorum did a whole freaking speech on it. But my goal is, my goal in life is to be the type of person that Patton Oswalt is talking about, and be able to have a job that I enjoy and go home and spend time with my family. But what about the people that might not be exactly like me that do want to be that 1%? So what about the kids in the ghettos, or kids who dream of opening a successful business and being filthy rich? I don't necessarily believe that everyone should be expected to strive to be rich, but I do believe that everyone should have that option. And don't get me wrong, I hate it when I see rich people judging poor people, or taking from them, or ridiculing them. But I also hate it when I see the middle class hating on the rich. I hate it when I see anybody judging someone because they do or don't have money. So I almost became a Democrat last week, and I've almost become a Republican this week. Not quite, thank God. And I'll probably possibly become a Democrat next week. But when I listen to a congressman talk about the American dream, I don't think of it as like this percentage number. So I'm tired of all of us acting like there are these two types of Americans. There's like the rich, and there's everybody else. I'm pretty sure we're all Americans, and most of us are trying to get this country to a place where everyone has the option to do just whatever they want. So that's the only point I'm trying to make today with my long-winded rant. That's it. And maybe that we need to like ban laugh tracks on sitcoms. And also Breaking Bad is a really stressful show. Oh, and Patton Oswalt is awesome. Okay, that's all I got. So that's the broad scope of things for the Republican Party. But now we're going to move to Joe Beretta, who I just mentioned, with specific stances on Mitt Romney.
Hey guys, today with this video, I want to present to you Romney's stances on stuff and things and the issues, and I'm going to keep this straightforward and completely unbiased. No insight on my part. But I will try to find a way to infuse my own brand of commentary. First up, energy and the environment. Romney's old school, big time. He's all for oil, coal, natural gas, and nuclear energy. He believes green power is bunk and that we are still in the dark when it comes to reasons behind climate change. If it's part of America, he wants to drill it. He wants to go Daniel Plainview on the Atlantic and Pacific continental shelves, the Arctic National Wildlife Refuge, and offshore Alaska. And if someone finds a shale oil deposit, he says, go for it, reap the benefits. If elected, he's going to kick carbon dioxide off the list of pollutants controlled by the Clean Air Act, and he'll seek to speed up the process of securing drilling permits for developers rocking good safety records. He also believes national parks should no longer be protected by the federal government. Well, you know what I think about that? I think Careless Whisper is one of the best songs ever written. Ever. The economy. Boo Obama's 2009 stimulus plan. Yay W. Bush's 2001 and 2003 tax cuts. Let's extend them. He defended the 2008 bailout, but he did not agree with the auto industry bailout. Romney would like to eliminate federal minimum wage regulations. He also thinks Congress should not raise the debt ceiling. He doesn't want to get rid of Social Security, but he does want to give it a major makeover. For people already 55 and over, there wouldn't be any changes, but for future generations, he'd like to raise the retirement age and reduce inflation increases in benefits for wealthier recipients. He's also discussed an opt-in system. He says he wants to balance our budget through less regulation, lowering taxes, and trade deals. As far as regulation goes, he wants to keep a close eye on the financial sector, you know, because they messed up pretty bad, while making life a little easier for smaller businesses. The lowering taxes stance might be a tough sell if he gets the opportunity to spend his proposed $100 billion on the military. He's discussed money being recouped through cuts in education, Amtrak, and the arts. You know what else? Tomatoes are gross and avocados are overrated. The social stuff. After years of support, Romney has switched sides and now opposes abortion, except in cases of incest, rape, or danger to the mother's or child's health. He wants to abolish Roe versus Wade, but believes federal legislation shouldn't seek to overturn the court's decision. It's the court's say until the court says differently. Wants the states to be able to decide the fate of abortion and thinks federal aid should not be given to Planned Parenthood. He also thinks health insurance companies should not be required to provide free birth control. The death penalty is cool when it comes to heinous crimes, and that marriage is defined as between a man and a woman. However, he states that he does not want to discriminate against the LGBT community in any other walks of life. He believes evolution should be taught in science class and intelligent design should be saved for religious and philosophical courses. He supports No Child Left Behind and Obama's race to the top education standards. He wants a big old fence on the US-Mexico border and pretty much opposes legal status rights across the board for illegal immigrants unless they join the military. Personally, I think roller coasters are rad and horses are scary. War, terror, guns. Romney banned assault weapons in Massachusetts, but as far as guns go on a federal level, it's not about stricter laws, it's about tougher enforcement of existing laws. Suspects of terrorism's constitutional rights are null and void, and he's down with waterboarding when it comes to interrogating terrorism suspects. On the war front, he's down with exiting Afghanistan by 2014 if the mission is accomplished, but as said before, it's like he's playing advanced wars and he wants to throw $100 billion into building our warships and expanding the number of our troops. He's on board with preemptively striking threat nations, providing more support to Israel, eliminating Iran's nuke capabilities, and scaling back our United Nations involvement. He also thinks Russia and China are totally lame. Well, you know what I think? I think Back to the Future 3 is just as good or better than Back to the Future 2. I said it. It's a legit Western. Healthcare. Romney is against Obamacare, even though Romneycare provided universal healthcare coverage in the state of Massachusetts. But that's just it. He believes states should police uninsured policy. He would open insurance to be sold across state lines and wants to lessen malpractice payouts to lower healthcare costs. He'll seek to provide subsidies for retirees to buy insurance or allow the option of Medicare. However, he wants to increase the qualifying age for benefits. And I want you all to know right now, shuffleboard is the best bar game, followed by trivia, then darts, then those stupid electronic gambling games, and then way in the back, billiards. A freaking heat pool. Woo! Ah, there you go. Romney's current stances on stuff and things. And I say current because as the challenger in this election, his stances are subject to evolve as the campaign moves forward. Also, space is cool.
I'm Meg Turney here on the floor of the convention center talking to people about politics, issues, the whole nine in 5 words or less. So let's start a mega mix. All right, Taylor, so can you describe yourself in 5 words or less?
Honest, hopefully funny, caring, and passionate.
Right.
Punctual, honest, short, and trustworthy.
Militant, middle of the roader.
Okay.
Conservative, less government, less spending.
Can you describe your ideal political candidate in 5 words?
Conservative, less government, less spending.
Trustworthy, good communicator, strong on economics and foreign affairs. That's too many words, sorry.
Intensity, savvy, honesty, compassion, strength.
So can you describe Mitt Romney in 5 words?
Integrity, tall, good looking, presidential.
More conservative than Barack Obama.
Traditional, caring, somewhat funny, passionate.
All right.
Aristocrat, nice guy, rich and privileged.
Can you describe Barack Obama in 5 words?
Well-spoken, intelligent, wrong direction.
Outrageously leftist, incredibly destructive, gone.
Funky, liberal, professorial president.
5 things you'd like to have at a party.
Frozen margaritas with no salt. Lots of people who like dancing. A diverse crowd in every regard.
All right, 5 words is cool and all, but you know what's better? 1 word. Let's do a lightning round on the escalator. In 1 word, what excites you most about politics? What? 1 word, what excites you most about politics?
Rather not answer.
What makes you excited about politics?
Very little.
I make a lot of money during the convention. That's what makes me excited.
What excites you most about politics?
Sucks.
Money?
Huh. Frustrating?
Interesting.
Patriotism.
What excites you most about politics? 1 word.
Easy. Money.
So as you can see, there are tons of different ways people see themselves and their politicians, and there are lots of different reasons for them to be excited about politics. Now, even if I don't agree with the candidate they choose to support, what I absolutely agree with is their excitement. Because no matter which way you lean or which issues matter to you the most, being excited about politics is really what matters. Educating yourself about the key players in the race, finding out which politicians believe what and why they feel that way, knowing how they voted in the past and what they promise to do in the future, and most importantly, looking at the issues from all sides. Because as I said last night, politics shouldn't be about fighting, it should be about learning. It shouldn't be about shutting out those voices that disagree with you. It should be about hearing those voices loud and clear and investigating the claims they make, so that when you pull that lever in the voting booth on election day, you know you've made the most informed decision you could possibly make. I talked earlier in the week about how many eligible voters don't participate, nearly 81 million in 2008. That's an enormous amount of power to affect real change in this country that's wasted. So don't waste your power, use it.
Easy.
Did you just laugh at my line?
No. Sorry. The guy's stuck with me. Easy. Money. No, but next up we have The Nation Speaks. Look at our really awesome graphic. This is the part where we actually go to Twitter and you'll comment places on YouTube. Wait, I was like, oh, do you not have it? I was like, no, this is terrible.
I'm playing Angry Birds. I don't know what you're talking about.
So, Meg, you let's kick it off with you.
So we asked people if their opinion of Mitt Romney had changed at the beginning of the show, and McLaren Mach 3, it's a long one, says, no, my opinion hasn't changed. They have avoided the major issues completely, and they have lied through their teeth.
Huh. I can kind of agree that they've avoided the social issues.
Yeah?
Orange Hat
like
tweets.
Santorum.
Orange Hat tweet says, I have not had a solid opinion on Mitt Romney. I haven't been impressed, though.
Okay. That's interesting. Right now it's very blasé and I hate everyone.
Well,
okay. Does anyone have a happy?
Someone does have a happy. C Piper 1819 said, overall, I think Mitt Romney and Paul Ryan can do more for our economy and for our country in general than Obama. So there's a back and forth there.
Let's see.
So Ryan Dennis says, PDS Live, Paul Ryan is really going to affect younger voters with that want to hang out with him mentality.
And I think the ladies are like, hey.
Yeah, is that like a thing?
P90X,
like,
how you doing?
Was that what it is?
He really, I believe he really does P90X. Yeah. I mean, I've heard under that. He's.
Oh, you said it's because of a family thing.
What?
No, that wasn't you. That was another redhead apparently I was talking to.
Wow,
No,
disposable bag.
That's a lot. My girlfriend's not watching. No, but someone said that people in his family, they die young.
Oh.
And so that's why he takes care of himself like that. Like, he's crazy. Wow. Like, yeah, really about it.
That's not good.
That's crazy.
Greaseball252 says, I feel like all the Republicans are doing is saying they dislike Obama instead of what they want to do with the presidency. Hashtag PDS Live. Yeah, I can agree with that. I mean, I feel like when we saw, I keep bringing this guy up, Ron Paul, when we went and saw him, all he did was talk about what he would do if it was president. It was very extreme stuff.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah. I mean, and that, once again, go back to Condoleezza Rice. She actually talked about real things. Real things. And
she's great.
We need to fix this. And we need to go back here, and it wasn't just like, this guy is stupid, right? It's not like, it was actually
mudslinging. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And it was kind of refreshing, especially because it is it is these people just preaching to the choir, and then she's saying, no, but we need to move forward. It's not just kick the guy out and everything's happy. It's like, let's get in and do something.
But I like that it was a woman saying that, because I felt like we had Ann Romney, who was like all wishy-washy puppy dogs in love, and then, you know what I mean?
She's
like
the wife.
I didn't say it was wrong. Again, you guys are just rearing to go today.
Sorry,
I'm just saying I really like that a woman was powerful and saying, like, we need to do this, this is what we need to do. And on that subject, SS Lil that's actually, I said it perfectly.
Cool username, bro.
Said, Rice's speech makes me really mad as a European. We hate the U.S. thinking they have to police the world. So what do you think about that? Because she did talk about that.
It is something, it's something that I agree with on certain things. When I think of why are we in a lot of places, I don't have the exact answer.
Yeah.
Sometimes people will say, well, we're defending democracy. Sometimes we say it's for humanitarian reasons. Sometimes people just go, well, they have something that we want, and we're helping them.
Yeah.
I see that point.
But I did think, as much as I don't like that we're everywhere, and I do think we should scale it back, I do like that she did make the point that if we aren't there, someone else could fill in that position. And I feel like if I were inclined to feel that way, that would have meant something to me.
And yes, and Condoleezza Rice also talked about not only just going in and fighting for democracy, but that we need fair trade. And she talked almost in a scary way about China.
About China.
And it was. I'm trying to say I don't want to say it's negative, but in a very we need to really think about China, and we need to get back on our game.
She went like straight up presidential.
Yeah.
Yeah,
she was
I thought she was very
here's some inspirational stuff. Also, here's the things we need to fix. You may have forgotten about it. Blah, blah. I just thought it was really cool.
Yeah, and I would say, the only other person that could be considered, I guess, super inspirational, Paul Ryan. The rest, kind of coy.
I was totally disappointed with Paul Ryan's speech. I thought it was going to be like crazy and like amazing, and I don't know. It was par for the course.
I thought it was very
good.
VP. It wasn't like overshadowing what Mitt Romney could do, but I thought it was very like supportive of what he could do.
I would say personally, I think that Joe Biden should be worried.
A lot of people have been talking about that.
During the debate, I think Joe Biden. Well, you know what? Maybe it'll change though when we see him talk.
Yeah.
Maybe he's been working on it.
I got my
3
blue
years.
blazer for sure, but I would be worried if I were Joe Biden, especially because he's young. He has like his I'm hip. I listen to AC/DC and Zeppelin, and Joe Biden says like this is really fucking cool when we sign healthcare bills. So like I hope he
the drunken uncle.
So SA_MH says, why do you think nothing has been said about Iraq and Afghanistan? #PDS Live. #Lee for president and hi from British Forces Germany.
Hello,
British
Forces.
Hi.
I think the reason it hasn't been mentioned is there's not a win. There's not, it's like we're there. I mean, if he was going to do something different, I think he would have said it by now. But there's no win saying that.
Is the Obama administration or the campaign, are they talking about Iraq and Afghanistan? I feel like everyone's just kind of like, oh.
No, when I was looking at the Obama Reddit, I've gotten through most of it, but I did. He said that Afghanistan was one of the hardest decisions he's had to make, and his decisions from there. But I think that was the only one. There were some really good ones that I originally saw where it was like there was a drone strike. It was this guy that did propaganda for Osama bin Laden. His 16-year-old son was killed.
Right.
Does that scare you? And I never saw that one answered. Probably for good reason.
Hard question to answer.
It's a hard question. And then what do we have? Elliott.
Okay, so we have No Name Ahmed said, I don't really like Romney very much, but I think he'll do a better job than Obama. #PDS Live. Then we have Bad Spanglish, who says, which party would a social liberal but conservative in economic terms vote for in America? That's an excellent question, because it's the conflict I'm experiencing. Which party would a social liberal but conservative in economic terms vote for in America?
Isn't it just libertarian?
That's libertarian. Yeah. I mean, but then it goes back to the whole two-party system, whether or not you're throwing a vote away.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, yeah, I mean, anytime I see libertarian, a lot of people are like, wait, what's that? What's that? And then a lot of people don't even know about Gary Johnson.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But I mean, it's once again third-party situation. If you don't know who it is, Google it.
Google it, dude. Just Google it.
It's the last night of the RNC. It's too late now.
Cody Has Dimple said, if you could picture the perfect president for the next election, what do you picture, and what choices would you want to see made? It's like a good open-ended.
Well, I mean, I think it differs according to where you stand, but I think socially a lot of people want to see social stances change, or social decisions, like as far as gay marriage goes. A lot of people get very passionate about that, and I totally understand it. So I think immediately that's what people want to see. I don't think it's necessarily feasible, but I think that's like the inclination. That's what everyone wants, like those hot button issues to be resolved.
I think honestly, if we could all break away from the two-party system a little bit, or within the two-party system, I think what people most want to see is a libertarian. A lot of people are really fiscally very conservative, and they want to pull back in this country and in this economy. And socially, we are moving toward much more liberal across the board. It's much more popular to be liberal on social issues. So I think honestly, at the end of the day, if they did know the word libertarian, that's probably what they'd want.
Yeah, I don't know. I always think that everyone just thinks that what they think is what the majority thinks, and that's totally not true.
Yeah.
But that's polling, like
Yes.
actual polling.
Okay, right. Whatever. You and your
Again,
facts.
me and the bus have not crossed paths yet.
Whatever. I'm just going to call you a
I'm
socialist
Frogger today.
and just disregard anything you say.
I'm going to cry into my blue blazer next week. Like, nobody loves me.
Let's see. Do we have anything else?
Well, let's see what else we got here.
Sorry, I just threw you under the bus again.
We got a question about healthcare. We have some questions about healthcare, some more things about healthcare. I feel like people want to talk about healthcare.
Well, I mean, it's a big deal.
Yeah.
It is to people.
But I think we talked about it yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
I know that it all comes down to the... No, not going to touch it.
Nope.
All right, not going to touch it. Okay.
Well, I like J.P. McGreevy said, the low-blow mudslinging and bias views need to end on both sides. Democrats should develop our nation while Republicans protect it. That's kind of an interesting, work together mentality. I noticed a lot of headlines this week in Tampa where, the Republicans were saying, we need to wage a fair campaign, and the Democrats, they are doing all the mudslinging. But then the headline today in our paper that was like outside our hotel room was, on the attack. And it was like, now the Republicans are like, going for the jugular. So I don't know. I feel like it should stop, and we should really talk about the issues. But that is not how politics work in this country.
That's not how people work.
That's very true.
Have you looked at our comments?
Have you noticed how many times you've tried to throw me under the bus? That's not how people work.
I just enjoy it. It's in a weird, twisted way. In a weird, twisted way.
And I do think there's a distinction between being I don't think everyone needs to be a moderate. Like, I feel like it'd be really boring. I want people who are extremely liberal, and I want people who are extremely conservative. I think the common thread just has to be like the guy said, a desire to work together.
Yeah, I think that pisses me off when people were like, when saying one person was biased, the other person was biased. That's the whole point of debate. Are we aware of that? Are we aware
You're
that that's
going
the
to be
whole
biased
point?
if your stances are defined by what the other person's stances are.
Yeah, because when people debate, right, it's not meant to be like three moderate people talking. It's, I believe this, and this is my argument. And then maybe one is true, one is not.
Fist fight,
No, I think Futurama had it right with Jack Johnson and John Jackson. They should all be the exact same debating each other.
Last tweet.
one.
Bob Nixer, 1798, says, well, Mitt's an ass, but he has a history with making money, so maybe that's good for the economy.
That's the one we're going to end on. He's like, that just goes back to my baby punching.
Hey, that's a great one to send us off to Charlotte with, guys.
I feel like, can we incorporate baby punching somewhere into a slogan?
You know what? Someone said, because of my baby punching comment, that means I would have voted for Hitler. And I was like, where is that?
Was Hitler part of the baby punching party?
He was part of the baby punching party. A lot of people don't realize that.
That's actually how he got into the Reichstag. He was just like,
there was a huge anti-baby
puncher.
sentiment at the time. This is going to a weird place.
They did have babies, like baby farms. That's a real thing where people were brought in to mate for the future race. That's real life. Hey, let's have a history lesson after this.
Wait, do we have one more tweet, or is that?
Oh, not on baby farms.
All right, we got. You have one?
Yes. Finola Forever said, I don't know why the Republicans are against gay marriage. Gay men tend to throw huge, awesome parties. Economy equal fixed.
And what about all the lesbians? Everyone forgets.
How good their parties are?
Everyone forgets
about the lesbians. Forgets
great
about
barbecue.
the lesbians.
A lot of people don't know that. Gay people make great barbecue.
All gay people make great barbecue?
Yeah, didn't you know? That's like a fact. It's
not a stereotype. That's a fact.
I read it in my middle school science book.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure.
That's chapter 7.
Yeah. Thank you.
Gay barbecue. Chapter 7, gay barbecue.
We're going to end The Nation Speaks on gay barbecues. And we're also going to, end the RNC on gay barbecues. But do not worry, PDS Live will be back next week. The DNC. Meg is so happy. She's so happy to be among her people. But tonight we have Newt Gingrich speaking with his wife, Callista. After that, we have former Florida Governor Jeb Bush. And also Ulysses. They just didn't name him. And the teleprompter is gone. Marco Rubio, and then Mitt Romney. I just remembered that, and I couldn't read. That's a good time. But guys, Meg Turney, Elliott Morgan, thank you.
We
can all be friends.
We made it.
Let's go party with Republicans or something.
But guys, thank you for watching this, whatever the hell this is. I love yo faces. My name's Philip Defranco. Meg's a socialist, and
Yeah, you have nothing on Elliott. It's only me, always.
we'll see you next Monday.
Don't nut at me this time.